Hello, 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 hello. Good evening. Happy Wednesday. Happy New Year. Let me see if my people are on. My people, my people. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and hopefully some of my guests will be joining shortly. Um, anyway, again, happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Becky Brown Girl show. Happy New Year. Glad to see y'all on the other side. And I would this evening like to discuss 9 to 5 life versus entrepreneurship. Like I mentioned, I will be joined by a few guests to share their own experiences. And you have to bear with me a little bit because my device with the notes on it just started updating. Um, so I'm gonna be winging it for a minute until this gets uploaded. But anyway, so again, tonight's topic is on 9 to 5 life versus entrepreneurship, and I kind of just wanted to talk about it from the perspective that obviously we all have to make a living to survive, right? To maintain and sustain ourselves and our families and whomever else that we take care of in our individual lives. And we go about doing that in different ways. Some people do that through a traditional 9 to 5. I'm very tongue-tied this evening. Some do it through entrepreneurship. Some combine the two, and I think different paths work for different people. There's not sort of one way to skin a cat. The end goal is again for you to be able to make a living. Ideally, you can do it in a way or in a field that you're passionate about. It doesn't always necessarily work out that way. Some people start out doing something that they don't necessarily love in order to fund, their passions later on down the line. But I personally have a corporate job that I do 9 to 5, and I enjoy it. But I do have other creative ideas that I would like to pursue. I also have a lot of excuses as to why I have not pursued them yet. And so I'm also hoping to learn from my guests, how they've been able to sort of navigate both if they're doing a 9 to 5 and, and pursuing something in an entrepreneurial space, or if they just took the leap of faith out the gate and went the entrepreneurial route. Or if 9 to 5 is the way they make their living. If I have time later, maybe other folks can join in and share their own experiences. But again, to start, well, hopefully they'll join. But as we go. But first and foremost, like I said, I have a few guests that I have invited to join me to discuss this topic. One other thing that I wanted to touch on was I have seen debates on social media about 9 to 5 versus entrepreneurs, and and oftentimes it is those who work in is the word I want to use, but that's kind of what I've seen, as if to suggest again that's the only way. Um, I think it's awesome, when you can be your own boss and do your own thing, but that requires a specific type of mindset. It requires a specific. I'm so tongue tied. A specific type of mentality, drive, determination, and everyone isn't built that way. I mean, ultimately, working for yourself is amazing, but you want to succeed at it, right? So, where are my people? So, in any case, I, um, like I said, just waiting for my other folks to join, as well. And okay, I don't know why he's unavailable. Y'all kill me with this. You can't agree, and then you can't do me like that. Aston, maybe you're available, like you promised. Um, or let me see if Kyrie is free. Okay. Anyway, all right. Well, hopefully they'll join shortly. In the meantime, please, share your own opinions and thoughts in the comments. I appreciate you guys being here. Again, don't just come, just don't come to look. I want you to add your 2 cents too. Um, okay, so Mike 1836 says entrepreneurship is hard but rewarding. Yeah, um, that's the consensus of, some of my friends who are entrepreneurs. It's wonderful to see your own work and ideas come to fruition, but again, you have to be very dedicated in order to see them through. I think people get discouraged when they don't necessarily take off right away, right? Um, so what in the world? Oh, I'm definitely showing off. Oh my God, what is y'all doing? Okay. So while I have you here, Mike, maybe you'd like to join and share your perspective. Um, um, since you are so far the only person who's commented on being an entrepreneur. Um, like I said, that's not necessarily the space that I personally work in. So yet, it is one I'm hoping to get to and looking forward um, to getting some inspiration from my guests when they join. um, oh, thank you, Baraka. I appreciate you. Um, yeah, what y'all? Okay, what do y'all think? Oh, you can't hear me. Well, why does no one say anything? Thank you, Mom. Um, okay. I don't know why you can't hear me. That would make sense why you are not being more responsive. Okay. Well, I don't know why she can't. Okay, my mom said she couldn't hear me. Um, okay. So Mike said he'll join in a moment. Um, as far as my other folks are, hopefully they'll be on shortly. Um, okay. Does anyone else have an opinion about, you know, which is better, or I don't even want to say better, but what do you do? And do you have pursuits to go in the other direction? Like, have you been an entrepreneur who decided to go back to a 9 to 5? That's not typically the way it works, but I have heard of some situations where that was the case as well. So I'd like to hear from you guys as well. So again, I don't want you to just to join here to look. I'd like you to, add your thoughts in the comments as well. Um, where are my people? Okay. So I've tried to add them. Hopefully they'll join when they can. All right, y'all killing me, man. Mike or somebody else, anyone else in the comments, what do y'all not work? Y'all do illegal stuff? Like what are y'all doing out here? How do you make a living? Anyone? Anyone who's an entrepreneur want to share? Um, look who's cooking. Would you like to join me? You should join me then. Let me know what your experience has been as an entrepreneur. Look who's cooking. Tell the people about yourself, promote your business. Are you available? I'm gonna send you a request. Alrighty. Let's see. Okay. Hopefully. Okay. I got you, Mike. All right. Well, then at least can y'all share your you know, share in the comments. That's fine. That's fine if you're not available, but like would y'all share your perspective? I already told you mine, right? Um I think like I said, I have seen this debated on social media, and um I always find it curious when I see entrepreneurs um, basically talking down on people who work 9 to 5. I'm like, well, those could be potential customers or yours, depending on what type of services you provide. So why would you do something like that? That doesn't even make any sense to me. Again, people need to worry about themselves and what works for them and focus on what works for them. If someone has expressed an interest in entrepreneurship and you want to guide them and mentor them, I think that's great. But, outside of that, I think insulting them is probably not the way you want to go with that. And then also sometimes people who get in the entrepreneurial space find it's not for them. And then, like I said, may return to, 9 to 5 life, and, in which you can still be successful. So I think it really depends on the individual. Um, so, okay. Okay, so look who's cooking says he has a catering business along with a nonprofit. Um, and it's tough. It's not built for the weak. Yeah. Um, my mama said, and my mama's always right. Either way, for success, dedication, consistent commitment, and drive are required. Absolutely, you're gonna get out what you put in. Um, I think consistency is really critical because it can be discouraging, I'm sure. Sorry. When you don't sort of see something take off immediately. But all right, I'm gonna try them again. It's killing me, Um, um, let me tell you something. If you agree, right, to to do something, be about your word, and that's all I have to say about that. If you got a reason why you can't, cool, but when you agree to do something, then do it. Period. Okay? So that is one thing I will definitely say. And you can put that in your pipe and smoke it. Um, okay. Look who's cooking said patience will become your best friend, and it teaches discipline. Okay. Does anyone else do y'all not work? All unemployed? You retired? Like what do y'all do for a living? How do you support yourselves? You living off somebody else? Like what are y'all doing here? Okay. Okay. All right. So So now I'm asking for my, okay, Mike said he's going to join me momentarily, but if there's anyone else in the comments who wants to share what they do, um, I would be super appreciative. Um, yeah, y'all are not very chatty. I don't need you to comment on my appearance. I appreciate it, but like that's not why we're here. So if you have something else you want to add, that's awesome. Um, but at the moment, it doesn't appear so. Um, no other entrepreneurs here? Y'all can't speak? Did I see somebody's username self-mater? That sounds like somebody, who's an entrepreneur. Do you not want to add anything? Yeah, y'all are really terrible. Web De Niro, you always have lots to contribute. Would you like to join me? Hmm. Um, Wes. Hi, Wes. Um, welcome back. I missed your comic relief, but this wasn't really meant to be a funny one, so of course you would join now. So Wes, I'm talking about well, for all of you who just joined, I'm talking about entrepreneurship versus um 9 to 5. Like, how do you make a living? What do you think are the pros and cons of each method of making a living? Do you do both? Um, okay, Aunt Dwayne, would you like to join me? This would be a, good place to, talk about the podcast you're starting. Um, Hi, Veronica. Okay. I don't know. Anyway, I would have loved to hear from somebody else besides listening to myself talk. Like I said, I already know, my take on it. Oh, finally. Jeez. Okay, so I'm adding Mark Cooks um to share his take. Well, trying to add. Hello.
Hello. Sorry, I hopped in the party late, so I was like, "What's going on?"
No, 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 no. All good. So, I actually had particular people that I had reached out to that told me they were joining.
I'm,
I'm gonna have a chat with them later. But anyway,
I know,
so I appreciate you. Please introduce yourself to the people, but before you do that, we're talking about entrepreneur life um versus I just saw one of them, sorry. Versus, did I say entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship versus nine
entrepreneurship
to five. What do you do for a living? Do you do one or the other, or do you do both? And how do you balance them? And what do you think are the pros and cons of each? So now introduce yourself and tell me what you do.
got it. Hopefully, my internet's not too janky where I'm at. My name is Mark. Most of my associates call me Black Superman. That's my tag on here. I'm actually a financial coach or financial planner, so I help people with life insurance, living benefits, retirement planning, and debt settlement. I'm out here in Los Angeles, California, but I work nationwide. I have agents all over this country. But as far as even just having a regular job or day job, I come from a law enforcement background. So I did 4 years of law enforcement out here in California. And then when I separated from law enforcement, I went into corporate, and then I started doing private details. So I do details for celebrities and, different famous people. That's kind of like my 9 to 5 that I do. But then I've started separating from that and going full blown into my company, which is financial services. So I do both. I'm transitioning into full-time entrepreneurship, but I'm still young in the game. I'm still learning. I'm still building. I'm still growing my team. And I can say, just listening to what you're talking about, hopping in, one thing I always tell my agents getting started in the industry is your 9 to 5 pay your bills, and your 6 to 10, fund your dreams. And I mean that. I always tell people who come into people who come into my company right away, they think it's, oh, I'm a business owner, I'm gonna be a millionaire quick. And that's not how it works. I've been in the industry 5 years. I've been consistent maybe about 2 years.
Mhm.
And I can tell you I've been rebuilding and rebranding, but there's no overnight success story. So I tell all my people, don't quit your day job. When you start a business, don't quit your day. Like, keep your day job, get your money, because that 3,000 a month that you're getting, or that 4,000 a month that you're getting, that's gonna pay your bills, and you need to keep a roof over your head. I have children, so you gotta provide for your children. On a completely side note, Blue Fi Gang Gang, I saw your son. Shout
Oh,
out Delta Road chapter over here.
he's on here?
No, I'm just saying, I know your son.
Oh,
So I
yes.
want to represent for the bros. Yeah, I tell people, man, don't quit your day job right away because you got to pay your bills. But when your day job starts to match that business, and then you start doubling the income in that business, and then the same amount of money you work in your day job and the business starts to become passive and it starts to level out, that's when you start making a big decision. So that's what I tell people, man. It's a lot of fun being a business owner because you have flexibility, yet you gotta have the focus and the, I would say, the discipline to start off doing both. And it's gonna suck at first, but it gets better. So hopefully that kind of, talks a little bit about me. I don't know if you want to go in depth about what I do or
No,
kind of.
that was an excellent overview. So, thank you. Um, well, and again, I had, particular people who were going to join, so I had a little bit more awareness of what their background was and kind of, what I wanted to talk to them about because I had that information handy. So, um, so you spit some bars
Okay.
in the beginning
I mean,
where you
I'm
said you're
okay.
9 to 5,
Uh-huh.
the nine to
Yeah.
five fund your day job
Yep. You're fun. You're nine to five,
funds your.
but you're 6 to 10 funds your dreams.
Say it again because the mic, the sound dropped out.
Okay. So yeah, you're 9 to 5. But your 9 to 5 pays your bills, but your 6 to 10 funds your dreams. So you use your job to sustain your lifestyle. Again, pay your car note, pay your insurances, things of that nature. But once you get out of that 9 to 5, you switch straight to that 6 to 10. You switch straight to business mode, and you use those hours. And sometimes it's 6 to 11, 6 to midnight. I'll be honest. New Year's Eve, I was with one of my business partners, my associates, and we were doing appointments at 11:15 p.m., 11:45 p.m., 12 midnight. He texted me at 12:43, says, I have another client going into the new year. So sometimes that entrepreneurship, it goes from 6 to 10, 6 to 11 to 2 in the morning. And that's just a sacrifice you got to make as a business owner. But again, when you finally make that sacrifice, you start to see that business income starts to match or even surpass what you make in your day job. So again, I kind of hopped on late. I didn't really know the full gist of it, but I talk about this all the time because, full transparency, I do bring people into my industry. I bring people into my company. I'm a recruiter and I recruit people from different industries. So I have people who work in CHP. I have people who are nurses, who are directors, who are producers, entertainers, influencers, barbers. I have a lot of people who work their day jobs, but a lot of times they're just fed up with that day job. They're fed up with being told when they can go to lunch, when they can take vacation days, when they can go see their kids. One thing I love about being an entrepreneur is I can bring my kids to the office. I can bring my babies to the office. I go to every parent teacher conference that my son has. And so I have a lot of flexibility there. So that's just something I wanted to throw in there about the joys of being an entrepreneur. A lot of people are scared of it, honestly. And I'm like, there's so much freedom in being a business owner that you guys are missing out on. So
Hold on. Look who's cooking. See, this is what I mean about, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. Now he's saying, 9 to 5ers are robots. I think if everyone could do whatever they wanted to do in the world, right, that's what they would do. Everyone doesn't have the flexibility and the freedom or the drive or the desire. And so I don't think that makes anything wrong with them. If that's not your path, then that's okay. Like everyone should follow their own path and not, like, social media has given people the perception, like you said, that everyone should be a boss. Everyone is going to have like overnight success, and it's a fallacy, just like you said. I mean, maybe that might be true for one out of, I don't know, 10,000, 100,000, but that's not typically the trajectory that you're gonna go, right? So
exactly. And what's tough about that too is calling people robots. People get really sensitive. And I was kind of that way when I first started. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was like, you're a slave, you're the rat race. And I was kind of I was aggressive. I was a young bull, I was a young bull, and I was like, how can you be serving the man? But then I realized that we're always gonna need doctors. We're always gonna need dental assistants. We're always gonna need people to answer the phones at T-Mobile. We're always going to need people to work at the gas stations. Like, we need those people because they're the construction workers. They're again, the assistants, the people who call for, for anything. You need people to answer the phones, period. So you're not necessarily a robot. You just know that when it comes to life, it's chess, not checkers. You got to think 10 moves ahead. Everybody can't start a business from scratch, and everybody's not blessed with a family business. So you got to be real. I went to school. I went to University of Michigan. I got my degree. I was a police officer. I had a job. I had a great career. But entrepreneurship was my pathway. And even getting into entrepreneurship, it was tough. It was challenging because I didn't have the discipline for entrepreneurship. I just had skills, wills, and talent. I can talk to anybody. Like, I can jump on a live, and honestly, girl, we could talk for 6 hours about it. I have a talent of preaching, speaking, and teaching, but I did not have the discipline of being my own boss, right? I didn't have the discipline of showing up to the office at 7 a.m. and staying there till 10. I show up at 1 and leave at 6.
Right.
But the people in my company who are making $80,000 a month, $100,000 a month, $220 a month, I saw their work ethic, and I was like, I'm not doing what they're doing, which is why I'm not making the money that they're making. And everybody can. I just told one of my agents that today. I said, you're too relaxed, and it's only the 3rd day of the year. We've been going at this for 4 months, and you're already chilling. You can't do that. So we had a nice talk, and I kind of gave her that coaching talk to kind of like get her mindset right. But it was a tough conversation for her to have. But everybody doesn't have that grit, and so you can't talk down on the people who work the 9 to 5, because some of them just don't get it. But when you put them in the right environment, you introduce them to the right books, and you start teaching and developing them, then they can get that entrepreneurship mindset. But everybody ain't cut from that cloth. I can promise you that.
People also, as I was starting to say earlier, to your point, like, you might find yourself in a circumstance where you don't have a choice, right? So you got to make something happen. If you do not have a hustler spirit and a mentality, the tenacity, the stick-to-itiveness,
yes,
then you might find yourself back at the same 9 to 5 that you were talking shit about other people. So, so watch your mouth, especially up in these comments.
And that's the reality of it. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, what I always tell my guys, especially my new guys who are hungry, the 19, 20, 21-year-olds who you just tell them to go and they go. I tell them, I say, look, whether you're young, whether you're 36 like me, or whether you're a little bit older, a little bit more seasoned, I say anybody can start at any point. It's not where you start, is can you outwork? Can you out improve? Can you out strategize? And can you outlast the person next to you? That's the key thing. Outwork, out improve, out strategize, and outlast. So wherever you start in that entrepreneurship journey, those are the key things that you got to focus on. And a lot of people, again, they don't get that kind of that coaching. Shout out to one of my mentors, Patrick B. David. That's something I've been getting poured into by him for the last 5 years. But a lot of people don't get that. And so even if you end up back at your job, find someone else who can mentor you. Find someone else who can coach you. Maybe find another business. Again, I didn't think I was going to do financial services. I was like, there's no way I would be good at money when I know nothing about money. But then when I mastered my craft and I saw how the Black and brown community and the single dads and the single moms really weren't educated on money, I said, this is where God wants me to be, and I'm going to become the flipping best at it. And now I'm teaching other people how to do that.
It's funny that you said that, because just before I joined, I was watching Ari Melber on MSNBC. That's my dude. But anyway, he had a guy on who was talking about how, like, we assume, like, people who are sort of in the upper stratosphere of their career making, millions and millions, particularly like athletes or, like CEOs of companies, had some sort of special talent that got them there. And or like somebody referenced passion. And I think it's amazing to be able to do what you feel passion for, because you're going to put your all into it, most likely. Right. But he was saying that sometimes our passion is fueled by our abilities. So you might really like something, right? But if you're not necessarily skilled at doing it, like naturally skilled at doing it, it might discourage you from pursuing that. He said, it's really the work ethic and the effort that you put into it that builds up your passion for something. Like once you start to master it and the better you get at it, and I think you mentioned something about mastering
Yeah.
like finance, then and there's always more to learn, right? So
And when you talk about passion, it always makes me laugh because when I kind of push back a little bit and challenge people when they talk about passion, because I say, think about your real true passions and will they pay you millions of dollars? Like my passions is guns. I love going to the range. I love shooting guns. I ain't never made a dollar off of shooting guns or buying. They're very expensive. Some people it's golf. Some people it's different things. And you don't make a lot of money from your passion. I always tell people, find your gift. Find what you're good at that most people aren't. And once you master that, people will pay you a lot of money for it. Whether it's marketing, it's branding, it's speaking, it's education, it's being an influencer, personal training, whatever it is that you're good at, that anybody like public speaking is the number one fear. It's not spiders, it's not snakes, it's not heights. Public speaking is the number one fear for your average American. And guess what?
I'm gonna interrupt you for 1 second.
Go ahead. Let me tell you, you're afraid of spiders. Is that what it is? Go ahead.
No, not at all. And my thing is mice, but and rodents.
Well, you didn't
But no.
I grew up.
What I was going to say about the public speaking piece, and then I actually do see some of my other folks on, so I'd like to add them. But so this forum, right, where I'm like talking to a screen, and it's very informal. Like I would think that it would be easy, for somebody to come on here and talk to me if it's something that they feel like they have something to contribute, right? On a particular topic. I understand if I put people on the spot that sometimes they're not, necessarily going to be ready, right? But I've actually found, that people were like, nah, like they didn't want to for reasons that I didn't expect. Because I'm like, you're just talking, like you're not even, people aren't in front of you, right? So what's the big deal? But it's a thing. I don't necessarily always like speaking in public either, but if I feel comfortable with the subject matter, then it's easier for me to do than, than other times. But
I can tell you what it's two things, and I'll be done. The first thing is people care too much about what other people think about them. That's 100%. Because if I say one thing that one person disagrees with, then it's an onslaught. People will be in my comments telling me I'm a bad dad, I'm ugly, I'm short, oh, cut his beard. And it's like, all I said was pickles taste better cucumber. That's it. And people are afraid, like it's fear. I got to the age, probably about 35 years old, which was only 2 years ago. I said, I don't give a flip what anybody says about me. And then the second thing is, everybody's going viral for so much. And again, this is my last thing is I'm seeing clips from the Cat Williams and Shannon Sharp interview, and everybody's posting, tweeting it. And I'm a person, I don't like another man talking negative about another man. What happens in private, please let that be private. Now it's Cat Williams, it's funny, it's a podcast, but I have certain feelings about that because now we've had private conversations that you're airing out. Or maybe you took something that I did in the wrong light, and now you're telling millions of people the scenario where I genuinely was talking to you as a brother, or maybe I did do wrong, but brother, you come to me and talk about that. You don't talk about my wife, Steve Harvey. You don't talk about my weight, Cedric Entertainer. You don't do that. And it's like you get on the platform and then, now all of a sudden all my business is out there and I can't even defend myself. So that's why people don't do it. I'll say that.
Not to digress too much on that point, but I saw that. I mean, I have my own take on Cat Williams. Not that he gives a shit what I think. He's not my favorite. So, and I just, all of the whatever. Anyway, we're not even gonna go there. So,
back to your live.
What's that?
I say you can go back to your live. I just wanted to address that.
No. I appreciate you hopping on, unexpectedly and, putting you on the spot. I appreciate everything you had to share. I hope y'all were paying attention and remember what he said, because I think he had some gems to share. So best of luck to you in all of your pursuits.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate it.
I'll
And I
send your message to my son.
awesome. Thank you.
Take care.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye.
Okay, so I do see, although I do see one of the other folks that I was going to add on. I'm going to first add some of my other people who were already here. Um, Mike. Hello there. How are you? Long time
Hey,
no
what's up?
see. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Excellent.
Um,
So, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Just really quickly, Black Man, AMC, Mike, the other Mike, I think he was Mike too.
yeah,
Mark, apologies. My last guest, please put your contact information or your IG in the chat or wherever if you want people to follow you. I meant to say that before he dropped off. So now the floor is yours. Tell me what you do. Tell the people who you are.
Mike.
Um,
I have a small business. I've been in business for about this year's going on 10 years.
Introduce
Aggregate business.
yourself.
Mike. I'm Mike Austin. Aggregate business. Small aggregate business. Paving and stuff like that. So if you see like uh, dump trucks on the side of the road holding up traffic, or paving the roads on on the major highways, that 9 times out of 10 that's us. Okay, snow removal and
Where
stuff like that
are you based?
in Maryland. Yep.
Okay.
So I just want to chime in. I've been in business 10 years, right? Before that, I worked a 9 to 5. I've always had like hard work, like I always worked 70 hours a week or something, So it was like I always had like a hard work ethic. You and really, to be honest with you, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to work hard. Like you constantly you working like 100 hours a week majority of the time. You know, I tell you what, I got a contract, right? I've been working. I work New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
I work from I work 28, 30 days straight in a row. I mean, but that's the things you got to do. Unusual results. You have to do unusual things to get unusual
Right.
results. You know, but you can make a lot of money at that time if you want. So it takes a person that again, like he said, like the other guy said, you have to be your mindset is totally different from other people. And it's not a good or bad thing. It's just what it is.
Well,
Most entrepreneurs, like we talk, like when I'm out in if I'm out in dinner, I'm constantly talking business
mhm,
all the time
mhm,
to anybody and everybody. Like your wheels are constantly turning all the time.
right.
Um, it never turns off. Entrepreneur, it never turns off. It never turns off. You always consistently thinking about business, a business strategy or business opportunity.
So let me ask you this because again, I have some friends who are entrepreneurs, close friends, you know, relatively new in that space.
Okay.
And again, it's always there's challenges in every way you earn a living, right?
Right.
Um, but one of the things that I'm curious about is, like I said, I work a 9 to 5, so I know what my pay is going to be every 2 weeks,
So
right?
the thing is,
But
you save. Like, you know how some people they'll like, okay, I'm making $100,000. I can budget to buy like a Mercedes or whatever the case may be, right? So
mm,
they're budgeting. Well, entrepreneurs, we think like this. I could put $30,000 down on the car. We never want to, or just anything, big purchases, we put half down and stuff like that. Like, so you constantly in save mode. You're constantly saving. You think of lump sums. You don't think of making payments on certain things.
right.
These are just the entrepreneurial spirit and how we think. Um, uh,
Well, and also because, but the point I was kind of getting to is, um, your earnings can fluctuate, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you're saving,
So here's the
right?
thing. Here's the thing. I, I can make somebody's salary in 6 months,
Mm,
but it might take me a year to make it.
right,
But you got to think about it. You got to be able to save that type of money just because you make, or just on the other 6 months of that, right? You got to think of how can I make some more
right.
money, So you got to constantly, you got to be a saver, and most entrepreneurs that have not stayed in the business, what they'll do is they'll be like, you know, I make this amount of money so I can go out and buy me a big Mercedes Benz or whatever the case may
Mhm.
be, right? You can't, if you want longevity, you can't think like that.
Did you use your I think you said you worked I don't know if you said what your 9 to 5 was initially, but you used that money to fund your business? Had you been saving towards it all along? Like, was this
Yeah,
always
so
your long-term goal?
it's been in my blood, like my bloodline. My family is like entrepreneurs, so it was just like a natural
Yep.
progression for me. And so that's my story. It's in my family. Like everybody around me are pretty much entrepreneurs.
And have it in the same sort of
Industry?
industry,
No,
or no? So did you
no.
have like special skills in this industry, or did you have a mentor? Did you talk to someone
Actually,
who?
so here's the thing. I went to one of my uncle's houses, probably like when I was, I was I was a cryogenic tech, right? And my uncle has this big lavish house, and it was one of those things where he was like, "Man, who do you look up to, nephew?" I'm like, I don't want any. I always like I shovel snow, I rake leaves, so it was just a natural progression for me to be a country boy, like to like do like
Yep,
laborious work, right?
yep, yep.
So the thing was, you know what? If I did snow removal or shovel people's snow or do landscaping, maybe I should open up a dump truck business. So
Okay,
that's what it was, right?
okay.
And I knew everything about it. It was like, you know what? I have a I have uncles and people that's in the industry that own asphalt businesses that make millions of dollars a year, right? So it was
Okay.
like, you know what? Let me just pick their brain,
Yep,
that
yep.
type of thing, right? And that's how I got started,
So,
you know.
I think, but again, and I don't know if you answered this or not, but had you saved up towards this if this was
I
your
saved
long-term
up,
goal?
I saved
Did
up, but it
you
wasn't
have to have other people like to
sponsor me.
invest?
No,
Okay.
no, I did it
Well,
myself.
that's great because then
Yeah,
nobody can tell you what to do with your
right.
business, right?
Absolutely, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. But again, like I was saying, you have to have you have to have a, a mindset because everything, sometimes things don't go the right way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you got to be a troubleshooter. You got to constantly troubleshoot all the time, right? Because things
Mm-hmm.
might not go 100% right. You got to be a thinking person. You got to be a saver.
Yep.
If you want longevity, you can't just because you got a lump sum of money or whatever. You just can't go
Right.
spend it. You know, and if you want longevity,
So
so that's
is that your primary advice? If you want longevity, you have to be a spender.
a
I mean,
saver.
not a spender, excuse me, a saver. You have to have vision, discipline, and a good work ethic. That's how I would
Yeah,
summarize what
yeah,
you said.
yeah. And the thing is, like I said, I work. A lot of people think just because you're your own boss or you might be the boss. Like again, I'm my gym schedule is off. Like I told you, I was going to join in. I just came back from the gym just now. I would rather go to the gym a little bit earlier, but because I'm working 70 days straight, every day, every
Hmm.
day, right? Most people cannot do that, right? I worked on New Year's Day. I worked the day after New Year's. I work. So you is what you want,
Yeah.
but
And
again,
a lot of people, aren't willing to
yeah,
do that.
yeah. But
Yeah.
again, I would make people. I'm gonna make people salary in 2 months.
Well, then that might give them a different take on it, which is the
Right.
point. There's sacrifices you're making on either side.
Yeah.
And so it really depends on, again, I don't think it's everyone's lane. I think that social media has made it so that people, like, everyone feels like they can do it. And I definitely
Right.
don't think it is
Yeah.
for everyone.
Yeah.
Um,
It's for the faint of heart. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah. It's definitely.
right, because they only see the
Yeah.
glamorous side of it.
Yes.
Like, the fact that you're your own boss, you don't have to answer
You,
to anyone.
when
There's no
you can go on vacation 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a
there's
year
no
or
cap
whatever you want to do.
on your earning potential.
Yeah.
But that assumes that you're successful in what you do. So you have to be willing
Put
to
the
put the
work in.
work in. And again, a
Yes.
lot of people would prefer, like, okay, you have defined
Or
responsibilities.
or like my thing is, I don't want somebody to tell me when to take a vacation.
Right.
I'm like, you know what? I want to pack a bag this week. I'm out of
Yep.
here. I might have worked. I might have worked like a dog for the last 2 weeks. I want to get away real quick. I want to ask
Yeah.
somebody. It's what you want. Sometimes it's not even all about money. Sometimes it's about what you want. Certain things like that's priceless to me, right?
Yep.
To not have to ask somebody something. I'm a grown man. Look, I'm gone. Pack a bag, boom, 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 I'm gone. It's about what you
I'm,
want, and
I'm not mad at
it's not about being rich. It's about what the things because with that, you, again, like the guy said, if you're good at whatever you do, just be good at whatever you do, and you're going to be successful at it.
Well, and I think it's about what you value. I mean, I don't know many people who don't necessarily value money, but they might not prioritize it in the same way as, like an entrepreneur
Sure.
would. Be-
And again, like in my worst year,
mm,
I would never go back to being in my worst year of being an entrepreneur. And that's the point that a lot of people don't like. In my worst year of being an entrepreneur, I would never go back to being to working for somebody else. And I made and during Clinton years, I made like 6 figures.
okay. Okay.
So
Oh, gee.
no, I'm not saying it
No,
like that.
no,
But what
no.
I'm saying is, in my
No, say
no,
what it is.
yeah.
Say what
So
it is.
right. So to people that if you really like if you really want to do something, like again, my family, certain people, they were totally against you. When you really want to go out on faith, people want to be against you, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta have like laser focus.
So I have a question for you, and this might be a little bit too personal. Okay, so you can say I can, or nah. Mind the
Okay.
business.
All right. All right.
I'm aware from prior lives that you've joined um, me with that you were previously married.
Sure.
Did they have an issue with you deciding you wanted to go be an entrepreneur? Like, because again, when you have, it's not just you making the decision, you're making a decision on behalf of now your
Well,
family. Were they supportive of your decision to do that, especially because you said, on the 9 to 5 you were earning what you were earning? Or were they like, you know yeah, no,
well,
I'm not with that?
actually, I had a unique situation. My previous marriage, she's a beautiful person. She made 4 times as much as
Okay.
I did, and she was on. Yeah, she was an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So she had
a
her
great
own.
inspiration.
Yeah, exactly. So, she was definitely like we were on the same
Mm,
page because of she understood the hustle. I understood her hustle.
yep.
And when you get somebody that really truly understand your hustle, it's like, you know what, boom, 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 boom. All right, baby, you do your thing, I do my thing. All right, pack a bag. You know what I'm saying? Book a trip. You know what I'm saying? We've been hustling all this week, whatever the case may be. Let's go and book a trip. Let's go somewhere. So it's a different dialect. It's a different type of
Well,
lifestyle. when you have somebody that's on the same page as you. Now, a marriage before that, it was like, and I see, I
No.
hate to say this, but the thing,
Okay. Well, we not gonna
no, no, no. So, so,
dive
so,
that
so
deep.
the thing is, you can also have a person that sees lump sums coming in, and it's like, you know what? Let's spend, let's splurge, let's do this, let's do that. And it's like, you know what? No, let's hustle, double down, this and the third. You got to have somebody that's on the same page as you are, you know,
Let's
and that's
mind
how that works.
your business. Don't worry about how many he had. Anyway, appreciate you joining me on
Absolutely,
short notice. Some of y'all I'm gonna have a talk with later. But anyway, um thank you so much. I'm gonna
absolutely.
add I'm gonna
All right.
add one of my other guests now. I appreciate
Okay.
your
Talk to you
feedback,
later.
your input. Take care. Best of luck to you and your business.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, so so Aston, now you gotta wait. Hopefully you'll still be available. I'm just gonna add Web De Niro real quick, and then I will add you. Um, shut up, Wes. Um,
Hey,
hello. Good
how you
evening.
doing?
Happy New Year.
Same to you. You know, I can't
Okay.
see you.
I don't know why you can't see me because I'm here.
It's crazy. Because I don't know what I'm doing probably. Hold on. I don't know. Well,
You can't
let's
see
go.
me?
No.
Okay. You can hear me
Yeah,
though. I know
yes, I can hear you.
weird talking to somebody you can't see in this platform, but okay, so introduce yourself to the people. Tell us what you do. It sounds like I think you said you're an entrepreneur, so if you just tell me briefly what you do
I'm
and
retired.
okay. So
Jesus,
altogether,
I said that
would you
next
say?
day. No, I got
Uh,
no, nothing. Somebody in the comments said I had a next day. And
he's
I got
he's
a
my
full
resident
five.
comic
I got a full
release.
five.
Okay, so
Oh,
tell
yeah,
us.
I'm an entrepreneur. Like I invest in stocks, real estate, Bitcoin, same stuff people say on the internet. I mean, on social media.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
one
but I've
of
been doing it.
those.
Now I've been doing it. I was doing it way. I started investing in real estate like 20 years
Okay.
ago.
Okay.
But
Um,
what?
and so did you at some point have a I thought you told me you worked in government. Did I make that
No,
up?
I was. Oh no, when I was going to city council meeting, I had did an affordable housing plan and an economic development plan for my little town. But no, I don't work in government. I just was helping out.
So
I,
have you ever worked a 9 to 5 or was your
yeah,
pathway always
my last
entrepreneurship?
job. Yeah, my last job, I worked construction, but I only worked it like 3 years. But no, I don't really work because to me, like I agree with a lot of things people were saying, but my strategy was just low overhead. Like where I live, houses were very inexpensive. So like I own a couple houses, they're all paid for, and I have low overhead. I don't have a car payment, I don't have a mortgage, like so my overhead is low. So and all my properties pay for my expenses, so I get to do what I want every day.
Well, that's a
which which
hey, that's
which is
nice.
yeah, you know, it's I
Now,
like freedom. You know, some people like a lot of money. I could make way more money, but I will have to work with more harder, but much harder. So I like freedom. I get to do what I want every day. Like, I just most of the time I'm just reading, trying to learn something new. Like I learned all about AI and large language models over the past year. Before that, I learned about crypto. I just learn and monetize the information,
do
basically.
you do you care to share like what part of the country you live in? I'm just curious because I think depending where you live,
Oh
that
yeah.
may also influence,
Definitely,
path.
it definitely where you live plays a big part. I live in Harrisburg, PA. It's dirt cheap here, so
Okay. Okay.
cost of
Yeah.
living dirt cheap.
Yeah.
It,
I would
it
imagine.
was yeah, it was easy to get financially free here.
I would imagine.
But the
Um,
same, I mean, but my strategy applies to all over. Like most people here are already rich in other places, so I'm just waiting for my son. I got another year and a half. When he's grown, I'm just going to travel around the world. Like, and when you like one of the other guys said, when you're an entrepreneur, everywhere you go, you see money. Like you're always thinking and seeing ways to make money. Like I give you, let me see. Like I mean, yeah, I'll give you a simple example. Like, all right, the very first time I went to Vegas, maybe 20 years ago, when I was there, I just asked myself, like, if I was here, I had no money, what would I do to make money? And the first thing I saw people selling water, and I was like, wow, I can get like 40 waters for like $5, and they were selling them for like $2 or $3. I was like, okay, I can make $200 or $300 a day selling water, and then you just keep building from there. So I just always, I don't know, you always thinking of ways to make money. It started out for me in childhood. Every time I seen money going back and forth, I would learn it. Like it started out like something simple as bingo. I started out with bingo, then I moved to learning about like gambling games. And then that just evolved to real estate and cryptocurrency. It's all risk taking. You just can't be afraid of risk. Taking a risk, don't be risk adverse,
Well, but
basically. But
you did say you have a son.
yep.
You have one son.
Yeah. One
So
son.
I mean, I don't know, it sounds like he's older, but
Yep.
I feel like for my folks who have kids,
Uh-huh.
that also can influence their decision of, how they make a living, because sometimes they don't still have the flexibility to be like, well, I'm going to take my chances as I'm not, and again, I think entrepreneurship is awesome,
Mhm.
but you have to be willing to put the time and dedication into it, depending
Of
on
course.
what your strategy and approach is, and be committed to doing that. And sometimes that takes time away from, you know, other things, parenting or your relationships or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I have split custody, so
okay, well, that makes it a little bit easier. So
yeah, it definitely does.
that's why I want people to have like a full picture, um, and understand.
I mean,
Um,
basically, everything is cyclical. Like life is cyclical, business is cyclical. You have ups, you have downs. You just have to be prepared for the down times. Keep dry powder. Like for instance, we're going to have a turn in the economy in the next 3 to 6 months, probably second quarter of 2024. You got to be prepared for that. Like people that are entrepreneurs or pay attention to what's going on, they keep money to take advantage of opportunities. You keep a couple of dollars because people are going to be desperate. They're going to be selling the assets for cheap. So you could buy houses, buildings, boats, whatever. To me, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, just start a business or whatever you're knowledgeable about. I've just seen some people was tripping about water. I was like, that's that was hilarious. But whatever you're knowledgeable about, someone else will pay you for that knowledge or a service. So if like you might be very organized. You know how many people would pay for you just to organize? Like I travel a lot. So I would pay someone just to organize my closet and pack up for when I have to leave. And so I'd be like, oh, I'm going to such and such. And they just have a spreadsheet of my
yeah,
clothes and they would just pack everything and have it ready for it. I would pay for that. So it's just little things. Like, I don't know.
interesting. Well, I appreciate your insight. I appreciate you jumping on short notice. As I said,
Mm-hmm.
I have some people that I need to talk to later. But some of them are here now, so
All right.
I
It was
would
good
like to give
talking to you.
them nice to talk to you as well.
Yeah, it would have been a lot better if I could see you, but it's like not as good interaction. I
Oh
can't
yeah,
see
I
you, so it's all
forgot
good.
that you can't see me. That's crazy. I don't know why that is,
Yeah,
but
me either. But it's good talking to you.
you too. But you can go back into the comments and then maybe you can see me from there.
Yep.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you're welcome.
Okay. Um, Aston, I'm gonna add you now. Um, and then I am next level. If you are still here, wait a damn minute. Now I don't see him. Okay. Yeah, low. I'm sure low overhead is helpful. Hello.
Hey, your time, of
My
course,
time is
was
terrible. You
yeah.
going
Uh,
out to fight a fire?
well, we're actually cleaning right now, but what time? How much longer are you going for?
All right, I'll bring you back. I'll bring
Okay,
you back. Just send me a request when you're free, because I might be on for like another 20 minutes. So
okay,
hopefully
all right.
you can come
I'll
back.
be ready in like 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, cool. All
All right.
right. Bye.
Later.
Yes, he is at his 9 to 5, Wes. Okay, so I'm gonna try I'm Next Level because he was one of my folks that was supposed to be on earlier. Um, let's see if he is free now. And Kyrie, if you're watching this, I'm gonna get you. Where you at? Okay, mom, with the plug. I'll organize you. Um, who is this? Okay, so Rome, I did have particular people that I had reached out to include, and because I know, we've done this a few times, I was trying to, get some new participants. So just hang on, hang tight, please. Oh, you don't want to be on here in your bonnet, blow dries and beats? It's okay. Um, Alrighty. So is there anyone else who would like to join? I don't know if I'm Next Level is here. Kyrie, if you're watching, I sent you a request, and so I'm not sure what happened to you, but now you owe me, buddy. Um, okay, so I'm gonna add Rome in the meantime, or P. Chinnery Photo. I don't know if you have anything you'd like to add about your entrepreneurship journey. Um, yes, Wes, he's a firefighter. uh, blow dries and beats. Wes said, "Come through with that bonnet power." Yeah, we need some ladies on here representing. But see, I always try to give them advance notice because they're not gonna come on here just any old kind of way. They won't come on here, ready. You dig? Anyway, all right. So I'm gonna add Rome, and yeah, so he can share his experiences, and hopefully, okay, there you are. Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
So, introduce yourself to the people. I mean, if they've been following, I'm sure they've seen you before. You were on my last episode. He's been on a few episodes with me. And share your whatever occupation or like how you earn your living, whatever you want to share.
Yeah, I share it. I share it. Man, I do everything, but my regular 9 to 5, I'm actually a detective. Here in New York City. My other, and that's my regular 9 to 5, and what I do on the side, I am in life insurance, financial planner, and investments. Also, an investor, real estate investor. So I do that.
Okay. And so how long have you been doing both of those things or each of those things, and how do you balance them?
Um, So I've been in law enforcement for 25 years, and I've been in the financial service industry going on 4 years now. It's a grind, I'll tell you that. Both of them are a grind, but you gotta have passion at what you do, and that's the one big key that you have to have, being an entrepreneur as well.
And discipline, right?
Oh yes, definitely gotta have discipline on that.
Well, and I would think that time management is also really critical. Like when can you actually get some vacation time because because you're always working, right?
I mean, the balance is hard, but at the end of the day, I have to remember my goals. I want to be financially independent. I want the financial freedom. I want to live the lifestyle that I want to have. My regular 9 to 5, yeah, it can give me that, but just so much. I mean, I live in New York City, so that's a big difference when it
Well,
comes to, you
yes.
know,
That
when it
that
comes to
was
certain things.
that was one of the things that I wanted to I was trying to gather from talking to my last guest, Web De Niro, because I'm like and one of the things I was going to say in my intro before my phone went out was like the cost of living. If the cost of living has
Yeah,
increased everywhere, but especially, you know, in big cities, New York and LA, and you know, like you have to have multiple streams of income to
yes.
survive, not even to thrive, to survive. Or
Yeah, listen, like here's the realness. When I first started, my salary was $32,000 when I first started.
well, you did say 25 years ago.
Yeah. So,
Yikes.
so I was doing that, and I was living at home. But you know what? Back then, I wasn't smart about money.
Right.
I was blowing it on nonsense. And then I became that entrepreneur. Like I was doing real estate young. I was also in the music industry. I was also an independent home contractor. So I was on that grind. But in order to do that, guess what? To make that money, you got to be present. So when I was doing when I was doing the home renovations, people were hitting me up while I'm got cases. And then I'm like, all right, I'll come to your house, put up that sheetrock. Okay, I'm done with that. I'll go to my real estate office. Somebody wants to show an apartment, or somebody wants to see an apartment. I can speak to the landlord. 10 o'clock at night. After that, I'm at the music studio. So it's a constant grind. And if you want to have these things, you gotta love it.
Well, okay, so now, yes, but he said Webb De Niro said he was the one I was referring to. He had said you can live very good overseas very inexpensively. Well, if your homeboy, Orange Folius becomes president again, that might be a very real option. Okay, but we're not getting into no political conversation.
True.
I'm just saying that, you know, I actually have considered like where else would I want to live outside of here. So it's not that I want to stay in the Jersey, New York area, or you know, well, Pennsylvania is cheaper a little bit, but I actually would like to move somewhere else. I'm just not sure where. I thought about, you know, like Houston at one point, but it's Texas. And
Yeah, I mean,
that's all I have to say about
cost,
that.
cost of
So,
living is good. It's cheaper out there, but
yeah, but
it's
it's Texas.
again Texas. Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm. Houston, Dallas, that's cool, but you know, then you go outside of there and they don't like people like us. Nah, I'm good. Um, so anyway, um, I'm sorry. So what would you said you've been in your 9 to 5 for
Yeah.
25 years. I thought like you know, in law enforcement after so many years, like you can do early retirement. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually retiring this year,
Well,
but
there you go.
the thing is, I wasn't ready for it because again, cost of living, bad choices when it came to saving money. And
Mm,
again, when you're not disciplined with certain aspects of it,
mhm.
you're gonna be in the situation. And I wasn't ready. Like I've bought properties, paid off the mortgage on my mother's house. So yeah,
Oh,
I spent
nice.
I spent the money in areas where I know I'll be good at. But again, where I want to be in my future, that's why I'm doing this business where I'm at now because it's giving me that security that I want and that lifestyle I really want to be able to have. So I want to travel more. Guess what? Yeah, I can do that with the business that I do now because I'm traveling all over the
Hmm.
country. I'm speaking with people, mentoring people also. So that's the thing that you get to also be a part of when you're that entrepreneur,
Right.
and it's all about that mindset. Because if you have the mindset to say, hey, I'm going to separate myself from, this part or, you know, um, it's balancing time. Once you're able to balance your time and put it towards your business and understand that the goals that you want to have, then things are going to start happening. But you have to have that
But do
mindset
you
and you have to have that discipline.
find, see, like I said, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about was with some of the like my set guests because they're all parents was and let me think about this. Um and they all have kids who are on the younger side. Um as well as I think, you know, one has like one who's older now, but how do you balance besides your entrepreneurial pursuit? Some of them are just entrepreneurs, some of them balance both. How are you balancing that, and is it impacting as a con? Does it impact, you know? relationship. So it's not, yes, it's great to make money and be able to have the freedom, the financial freedom. That's critical. It's really important. But at what cost?
That's a
Like,
great question.
where is it impacting you negatively? Because
Um,
everything isn't just about how much
no.
money can make, how much money can make. That's important though. It
So
is
I
important. I'm not,
mean,
I'm not.
where you suffer is the time aspect, because when you're not able to prioritize that other part of the relationship, depending on the kind of business that you're in, it's something is going to suffer. So you actually have to plan it out. You have to make time for everything, and that's one thing I didn't do early on. I
Mm.
didn't balance out stuff because I didn't think about it. Especially when I was a lot younger. Like I said, I was literally going from my precinct to the to my real estate office, then to my music studio, and then had to shoot to Jersey to see my ex at the time when I was dating. And you know what?
And she
That was
probably
maybe
was like, did you ever see You So Crazy, Martin?
oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh, did I
okay.
ever see that
So
movie?
now
Yeah.
you don't got no quality time. You don't got no quality time. Well, somebody else got your time. Look, I feel like you have to be with somebody. You and that person's mentality has to be aligned in that
That's
regard. So if
yes,
you,
that's the key. You also have to be with somebody who understands what you're doing,
yep,
understand the struggle, to
yep,
say, hey, you know what? If I can see the potential of what you're doing, but you have to be honest with yourself.
mm,
If you're not real about being with that person, and also being in the part of the business that you want, that person's gonna benefit from what you do, then you got to understand that sacrifice, because you really have to prioritize. And it's really about the balance. If you can mesh the two together, or the three, because if you have a regular 9 to 5, you're also an entrepreneur. You got to have that balance in there together, also, to make that really
it's
happen.
probably better if you either, like, if you meet somebody and that's already your life. So so
Um,
that, or if if you're like well immersed into the relationship, maybe you're married already or whatever, in order for them not to feel like, no, is this or me, and like, where are you going to make the sacrifice, or like you just have somebody who's really is aligned with you,
yeah,
on your
it's
goals.
the person. Yeah, it's really that person that you're gonna start dating. Because I had a lot of female friends who date that they're serial
Mm,
entrepreneurs, and then they've dated guys who weren't even on their level. And you know what? The guys had to say, hey, you know what? I got to deal with it. Sometimes if you're that significant other, sometimes you got to deal with it. Either suck it up or get the hell out. So it's like, either you deal with it, or that's it. Because if that person is saying, hey, this is the goal I want, or this is the goal that I have set for us,
yeah.
hey, that you're gonna benefit from this, all this grinding that I'm doing, oh, that's
Well,
it.
well, I
All right,
think, again, the way you framed it is really critical, because if they don't see themselves in your vision, then
that's the other
then
part. Yeah.
yeah, it could probably be off-putting for somebody who isn't necessarily about that life. But
Yes,
if,
you gotta include the other person in that part of the
yeah,
picture.
yeah, yeah,
That's the key. That's one mistake I didn't do early on in my younger
mm,
years. I didn't really include that person I was dating, to say, hey, this is what you're gonna benefit from it, or all the stuff, because I also, again, didn't have the
yep,
conversation, didn't
yep,
communicate those things
yep.
about that.
Um, okay, so a lesson learned,
Yeah,
but well, congratulations on your pending retirement.
but yeah, big party
And
coming up.
okay, well, make sure holler at the kid. Make sure you
Yeah,
invite me.
yeah, you already know.
And
All right.
best of luck to you on your other pursuits. Make sure you put your info in the chat.
Yes, ma'am.
And I appreciate you joining me. I'm gonna
No doubt.
add one more person,
All right.
Aston. I hope you're available, and I will talk to you
Yeah.
later. Okay, so um, Aston, I hope that you're free now. I'm gonna have you for a few minutes, and then I'll wrap up. And I appreciate y'all hanging with me. And there you are. So
Yes,
you look like you're done cleaning now. Okay,
yes, sun cleaner.
okay, excellent. So, welcome,
All right,
Aston. And so Aston is a photographer extraordinaire, um,
got it again.
firefighter on the side, in New York, and a dad. So, um, so Aston, I would like you to talk to me about how you balance your different pursuits, what you started with, how you transitioned to, I think you started as a photographer, how you transitioned into firefighting, and then how you balance them, and anything else you'd like to
I
share.
don't. I'm failing. There's no balance. It's constant chaos at all times, and I just hope I make it till tomorrow. Now, well, I was doing photography for like now 18 years, old as shit. Um, let me see, 18 years of photography, 8 years of firefighting. So I guess 10th year of photography, I kind of transitioned, and that actually happened because a partner of mine kind of screwed me out of the studio, and
Nice.
yeah, I know his dream job was to be a firefighter, so I did it, and then I got the studio back.
Wait, oh, okay. Your original studio or just a new?
I got the commercial storefront next door to it.
Oh, well
So yeah, where we did the shoot was next door to where he kind of like screwed us out. So but
is he
pretty much,
still there?
nah, he moved out of town. He's doing his thing. He does like wedding photography and all that other stuff. But he pretty much didn't like the fact that at that studio he wanted to. Yep, I got you. He didn't like that he wasn't able to make money in a particular way. So,
Okay, so as y'all can
okay,
see, he is, he's in the midst of working now,
pretty
right?
much. Yeah. Sorry.
No,
Um,
no, don't apologize. That's what you're supposed to be doing. So,
pretty much. So, yeah, he pretty much he wasn't making the money he wanted to make. So somehow or another, he stopped paying rent and the studio rent, and then we had to leave when I was going on a trip to Miami. So after that, I was pissed, of course, and I remember the whole time he was training to be a firefighter. So I had a letter; they had already accepted me. I just didn't do any of the tests and stuff. So of course, when he pissed me off, I was like, "Yeah, I'll take this test. I'll do this." So then ultimately, that's how I became a
so
firefighter.
you did it to spite him?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay. Well,
entirely.
how do you like firefighting?
It's cool. I'm very destructive, so I get to do that. I'm in the truck, so what I pretty much go in before the engine puts the fire out. So I take them to the fire. I help find the fire and people, and then yeah. So I get to do all the fun stuff.
So you got to carry the people out and all that type of stuff. Okay.
People, cats, turtles, dogs, you name it. I'm the guy who's breaking up people's house. They're like, "Why are you doing that?" And ultimately, we're trying to find more fire. But yep.
Interesting. Okay. Um,
So yeah.
Now I know I think he's still on here.
Mm-hmm.
One of my, not the other guests, but one of my other commenters um is a retired firefighter. I cannot talk tonight. I But you can retire after like 20 years? Is that how it
Yeah,
works?
I think it's like 22 and a half now. But
Okay.
yeah, and then like with any other city job, like it's a certain point where you're vested in. So if you want to take early retirement, you can do that too.
Got
You
you.
just don't get as many benefits as if you stay longer. So
And now, how do you? I mean, I know I'm sure you're being a little facetious when you said it's all chaos, but like you are a dad, you know.
uh, I mean, so it helps based off the age group. So like, and then I bring them to my job. So like they come here and they see like when we get runs, they see oh shit, like that's doing shit. Or we come back smoky, or like when I take them to the photo studio, they're like, it's a lot going on. Like it's makeup artist, it's hairstylist, it's me
Right.
working. they can't do anything, and because they're nervous around the people, they're like, holy shit, that is like working. Or like they go with me to open up. So like, you know, as they got older, they're like, all right, I get it. But beyond that, you know, it's just like any other household where, you know, ultimately the kids want you around, but like, you know, I'm the breadwinner, so it's like if I'm not firefighting, if I'm not actually doing a photo studio, I'm letting somebody else into my studio. So I'm
Right.
also technically my side job is also being a studio owner. You know what I mean? And then I do event photography, which then now has me at different parties and
Yep.
venues or different countries sometimes. So it's
Well, and I didn't realize that. No, no, did I know that? Oh no, I didn't know that you were renting the
event
studio
photography.
to
Oh, okay.
other photographers. I didn't
Yeah.
know it was yours. I just didn't know that you were
Yeah.
like allowing other people to use the space. So okay.
Yeah. And
So so
huh?
so, do you have a preference between? I mean, obviously they're completely different.
Photo studio all day, every day. Like this is literally, yeah, no, it's not the same, like at all. I'd
I
much rather
mean,
be. You know what? What I can say is this taught me how much I wasn't doing in photography. So like
okay.
when I had to do the academy, I had to wake up like 3 in the morning, like just to get out there, and we were there for 12 hours.
Oh,
Now, mind you, for 10 years as a photographer, you couldn't pay me to shoot you before 12 noon. Like I woke up at 12 noon from
right.
being in the clubs and all that other stuff. So all my shoots started at 1 o'clock every day. And
Wow. Okay.
when I started doing the training with this job, it was just like, whoa, I'm missing out on 7 hours of the day. Like that's 2, 3 more photo shoots I could have been
But you're,
doing.
but you also, I mean, I know you shoot. See, I just think about what I see on your page, and I
Hmm.
would imagine, you know, if they also work in that industry, then they probably not getting up at 3 in the morning and 4 and 5 and
See,
7 in the morning.
that's the misconception. When you go to my page, it's a lot of sexy stuff, but these are like everyday women. Like it's actually rare. It's actually hard for me to shoot the women of nightlife because they don't get the entrepreneurship of what they're doing. Like they don't get that Bernice Burgos is now 6 million followers in. She has residual income. She's literally getting paid a certain amount of places just to show up. A lot of those girls don't get it. They just think I'm a bartend, make some Henny and cranberry juices, shake my ass, my little 500 and leave. They don't know that like this woman has literally changed the game. Like she opened doors for people to like literally go from bartending to being a national face to becoming international. So
Mm.
what happens is I really don't shoot a lot of those
And she's
women.
stunning. I mean, you know, that helps.
Yeah, she's a beautiful woman, and I mean she's smart. Like the biggest goal was like, hey, like I'm beautiful, and if people are paying for it, I want them to pay the most. But a lot of them, they don't get it. So a lot of the women that I shoot are actually everyday women that just ultimately just want to be sexy. So and then also that's not actually where I make most of my money. Most of my money is actually maternity photo shoots.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and it's easier because you get to charge them more because it's not often they get pregnant. You know what I mean?
No, they,
Versus a photo shoot. So if I charge, let's say $500 for a photo shoot, I can charge $800 for a maternity shoot.
should you be telling them that on here or?
Yeah, yes, I can. Like it's the same thing. Like you hire a photographer for your birthday party or your retirement party. It's a certain price. You get married, and now all of a sudden it's $2,000 extra just because it's marriage. That's anything,
This is
you
true.
know.
That makes sense. Okay, I got you.
It's like a burger. You get a regular burger, it's $15. You get a Wagyu burger, it's 60. So, but yeah. Ultimately, I was saying that I was doing photography for 10 years, and it took so many aspects of firefighting to refine like my entrepreneurial thinking. You know what I mean? Because as an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, like if you're going into it just like straight out the gate with something that you love, you don't necessarily. There's no real classes for it. Now there are, but like again, like 10 shit, 4 or 5 years ago, there were no how-to videos. There weren't many YouTubes on like, hey, if you're doing this, watch out for this. Like we were
Mhm.
learning through each other, you
Yep.
know. So for the most part, I would say like the structure of having. And then when I looked around, when I was shooting, I was the only photographer who was only doing photography. All these other guys, I knew one guy was a mailman. He was super successful, but he was a mailman. Another one was a cop. Another, like everybody was transit, like they all had jobs, and I'm like, oh shit, like, and I was getting all the residual work because they were busy at work and
Right.
canceling and stuff like that. So I was taking their gigs, and then yeah, then it hit me late. Every time I get $1, I gotta put it right back into this business to hopefully get another dollar. And they're just putting the money from work into the business, getting the higher result because they can say, "Hey, I'm gonna take one of my whatever my 9 to 5 checks. I'm gonna pay a dope professional model. I'm gonna buy the best lens. I'm gonna buy the best studio with that money, and then create the product to
Oh
then
no,
make
whatever.
the most money."
You you froze up for a second, so I don't know if
Uh,
that happens to other
uh,
people. Um,
can you hear me now?
yes, I can hear you. So just really quickly, first of all, thank you for joining, especially since you're actually in the midst of working.
Oh, come on.
And saving the pets and the people and the
Uh,
homes.
it shows the shit. It's fun. You get to
Um,
talk about all the stuff people think about.
yeah, no, well, and again, I appreciate you and your contributions
Mm.
to the discussion. Um, we got to get back in the stew, but I need to, but I'm gonna give you a timeline because I want something for my birthday.
Oh, nice. That'd be dope. That'd be dope.
Um, but I need to get back into the other stew, into the workout stew
Okay.
first. So anyway, so we'll talk about that offline. So the topic façon couture is 9 to 5, making a living versus entrepreneurship. For those who do one or the other, or if you balance both,
Mm.
what do you think the pros and cons are of
Oh,
of
oh. Pros and
every
cons.
way to
Oh
earn a living?
man, it's so many. I mean, a lot of the guys earlier said a lot of dope stuff. The reality is people are so fiended out not to have a boss. They don't realize you go from working a particular company with oh shit. Sorry.
Uh-oh. Does that mean time to go? Okay.
Yep.
Hey,
Sorry.
thank you. All right. I guess he's gonna
Oh,
log off here.
okay. Good.
No, don't
Oh shit.
forget to log me off. No?
It went through? Yeah, it went through.
Okay. Bye. Sign off.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's on the thing. You got it.
okay. Well, this is exciting, right? Except that he didn't sign me off. So hang, hang on. Hopefully he'll remember to do that because I don't think I can do it myself. Unless somebody else wants to tell me how to do it. Okay, think maybe he's gone. All right, I'm gonna add Kyrie really quickly, who was also supposed to join me, and then I'm wrapping up, and hopefully Aston. This is a live action, right? I know. It's kind of crazy, actually.
Hey, bring that fireman back.
Nah, he's done.
That looked like it was about to get interesting.
Yes, it was gonna get interesting. However, we don't, that's too much going on over there. So, but now I can't get him off. Anyway, well, welcome an
Hola.
hour later. Now you know I'm gonna get you. Anyway,
What going on?
what
What
Guan
happened?
is, I thought you were gonna be here
I thought
in the 8 o'clock
you were
hour.
going to text me. I realized I said, oh, well, let me go on Instagram and see
Well,
if maybe she already got on.
the phone that I was texting you with is the phone that I'm using.
Well,
So
you
sorry.
said I'm going to hit you before I go on. That's what you said.
I did though. Anyway, okay. Well, we all
Anyway,
had this conversation on the side. Thank you
yeah.
for joining me, sir.
Hey.
Introduce yourself. Well, rather, let me introduce you really quickly, and then you can, you know, tell me more about what it is that you do, the pros and cons, and so on. So,
Well, do I look
um,
greasy? I feel like I look like Tito Jackson or Jermaine Jackson. Which one the greasy one?
I mean, you look moisturized. How's that? Okay, so, um, welcome everyone. Kyrie Terrell, writer, producer, director, actor. He's got some cult classics on your favorite Tubi, Work Bay, Money Lovers, right?
Yes.
He's a TU graduate, Temple University. Shout out to Temple.
There we go.
Philly John.
I'm a TU dropout, but I'll take the graduate part.
Okay, well, a Temple attendee. We do have that in common, right?
That yes.
It's all
I
good.
went for two
But
years.
look, but look where you are now, right?
There it go.
Um, so his background at Temple.
It's
Okay, no,
going
he's still
it's going
there.
down again. Oh, there you go.
Okay, good.
He figured it out.
Thank you, Ashton.
I was about to say. Now I got to adjust my
No.
okay.
So he um he wears many hats, right? So he's worked for different major media companies, which you can elaborate on. Fuse, I remember Comedy Central, I think, was one that I saw as well. But anyway, so he has a diverse background in the world of multimedia, and now he is the CEO and owner of of Focus Studios.
Here we go. Here
My
we go.
bad. See,
You
now
got it.
I was going off memory. Welcome, Kyrie Terrell, everyone.
Hey everyone. Thank you for having me on, Becky Brown Girl.
So I would love to hear about how you, well, I know you said you sort of got the acting bug, acting theater bug at Temple.
Mhm.
But so this, it sounds like this has always been the path that you wanted to take. But if you could just kind of elaborate on your path into entrepreneurship and, some of your um the pros and cons and your experiences in general. Oh wait,
Sure.
I also forgot to say congratulations because he's a newlywed. So,
Yeah, man, just got married. Who told me to do that?
and shout out to your beautiful wife,
She out
Natasha.
here. She around here.
Okay.
Um,
Thanks.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Acting and directing and being an entrepreneur and where I started is the question, right? So I got where I am today because I really decided that no one was going to tell me no anymore. So what a lot of folks don't know about myself is that once upon a time, back in my Temple days when I did first start acting, I there weren't a lot of folks that looked like me. There weren't a lot of folks doing projects for people that look like us. And one of the things that I saw was every time I went to an audition, I used to go back and forth to New York, Miami, DC. I was under two agencies. So I would get sent out for work a lot, but it costs money to get sent out for work, which you realize really fast, especially if you're not booking all of those jobs, and no one books all of the jobs that they go out on. So if I went out on 10 castings, I might have got one. And what happens is by the time you drive to New York 10 times and you book one gig, that one gig is not a syndicated show or nothing like that. It might be, one appearance on something that might be worth $500. I think the biggest check I got when I was just doing gig work, going back and forth, was like $1,200. And that's less than your average 2-week check,
Right.
making a small wage. So you think about that in regards of, and I'm saying this because I left a good job. I was working at Blue Cross, and I got under agency, and now I'm getting these calls all the time, and I'm like, damn, I can't go because I gotta go to work. I'm gonna miss this one because I gotta go to work. And when you at work, you feel like if you would have went, you would have got this
Right.
gig. So then what happens? I quit work and I become a starving artist. I learned the hard way what that means to be a starving artist, because now I'm going to New York, I'm going to DC, I'm going to these places for these go-sees. And like I said, I'm booking one every now and again.
Okay.
Long story short, I went into this competition. It was for International Model of the Year, New Day Associates. And I clearly should have won, and this is not me just saying, you know, I should have won because I'm me. It was clear. It was clear to the point where, like, when they announced me second, people, you could hear the rumbles in the audience.
Right.
So, you know, not even bitter, but I asked around. I was like, oh, who you pick? Who you pick? I asked some of the judges. Some of them I had relationships with, some I didn't. But they all said they picked me except for one who just was like being an asshole and was like, you know, you shouldn't ask that. Don't, you know, just come back next year and all that. But 6 out of 7 had already said they picked
Right.
me. And then someone behind the scenes told me, he said, listen, it was political. The cat that won, his pop is really cool with the cat that put it on. They pretty much promised him the competition if he showed up,
Wow.
right? So
That sucks.
yeah, but it sucked then, but
Mm.
it's really one of those turning points in my life because that ride home, I said, "What do you want to be, Kyrie?" And my answer was a director. I was 26 years old at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know nothing about cameras except for being in front of them. I didn't know nothing about being behind a camera. I knew nothing about lighting, sound, audio, you name it. But I made a decision on that ride home, and I said, you know what? That's the last time anybody tells me no, when I deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a hell of a feeling when you know you
Yep.
deserve it, and it's out of your hands that you get
Yeah.
told no. So I said, yeah, that's the last time anybody tells me no. And I always used to say, somebody needs to do a film or a TV show about this. Somebody should make that. Somebody should make this. And I was like, I'm gonna become somebody. And it took me. I hate to say it took me, but it wasn't until 11 years later when I made my first film, Work Bay.
Mm.
But a part of that journey was nobody being able to tell me no. So I was like, I'm gonna learn how to do everything by myself, not necessarily to a mastery
Yep.
level, right? I think the only thing that I'm really, really good at, my superpower, is storytelling. I could write my ass off. Sometimes I write stuff and I'll be like, damn, this gonna be good.
Right.
But everything else under film, I know well enough to teach it to someone
Okay.
else, right? I'm not the best cinematographer. I'm not the best with audio. I'm not the best with any of those things, but I know how to do it damn good, you know. And I took my time to get to that point,
Mm-hmm.
just so that if I'm on set and my sound guy calls out, it's cool because I know how to do it. And in a pinch, I can teach a production assistant how to get through the day.
Yep.
Same goes with cinematography, gaffing, the whole nine. So I know I'm probably being long-winded with that answer, but my journey here was really somebody took something away from me that I knew I deserved. And I put my foot down and I said, that's the last time. And I learned it and I learned it and I learned it. And I started my company in 2011. That show was probably taken away from me in '07
Okay.
ish, oh
Mm-hmm.
06, '07. And you know, I studied for like 4 years. I bought, you know, rinky dink equipment, whatever I could get my hands on, and I just learned and learned and learned until I started my business. And then a lot of people know me for Social Scenes. I started Social Scenes, and that was basically just filming nightlife. You know,
Mm.
anybody that would let me in their doors, I would film nightlife. Right now, we're filming a documentary on Philly nightlife called Social Scenes, ironically.
Yep.
But that was my first foray into it, you know, and it wasn't until my guy, cousin E, he said, look, I want to do a little movie for my event. I said, there it go. Finally, I'm on one. I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Mm.
And we did a little mini movie for his December party. And then my guy Marty Small saw that and he was like, yo, I want to do something longer than that. I want to do like a 30-minute jump. So
Right.
we did a little short movie for him. And you know, people started to see these video flyers, as I used to call them.
Mm-hmm.
And but that was like home for me. Like that was like when you finally doing something and it don't feel like work. I
Yep.
was like, that was eureka for me. And I just, that's how I started creating. That's how I started doing films. And then I started doing little skits around relationships and things like that. And later would come the relation skit. And then Work Bay, to bring it full circle, Work Bay is really a long relation skit. Like that started out as the idea of, you know, people having these work hubbies and work wives and all of that.
You would have
So
been
I
a
was
great
like,
guest for that show,
I
by the way.
I know. You invited me, and I wasn't available.
That's all
You got to run it
good.
back. You got to do part two of that one. But yeah, it just grew. I was like, I'm gonna do this little skit, 5 minute skit about, somebody having a work day. And then I was like, well, who's the girl and who's the guy and who do they have at home?
Mm.
And once I started thinking about who they had at home, I started to write and it started to become a story. And it was like a half hour before I knew it. And I was like, well, if I could do a half hour, I could do a whole hour and make it a movie, and that's what happened with Work Bay. And it was pandemic. It was April 2021. So we were still like smack dab in the middle of it.
Yep.
And I just asked a bunch of people who want to do a movie. And people perked up to it. And as they say, the rest is history. Now we're going into production in the third film in that franchise. I'm doing a whole Bay franchise. I call it the Baytrix.
Okay.
And
You got the best names for everything.
so yeah, Christmas Bay, we start production in like 21 days, 22 days.
Awesome. That's so exciting. So I want y'all to make sure, put your information in the chat. I see I was waiting for you. But put your information in the
What
chat.
info you want?
Put your IG handle, wherever you want people to follow you. Put information about Work Bay 2, Money Lovers, available on Tubi. Y'all love Tubi.
They love
Some good
Tubi.
quality movies.
Yeah, it ain't no BS. I got movies on Tubi. I don't got Tubi movies.
Exactly. Independently made.
Yes.
And support Kyrie Terrell and his vision of, taking over the multimedia space. Now I mentioned you're a newlywed.
Mm-hmm.
And I also mentioned, or maybe I didn't mention, but you are a dad as well. So how do you manage your, familial ties and other relationships outside of your professional pursuits?
It really it definitely gets tough. I think I'm blessed to be in a relationship with somebody that supports my endeavors. Um, and that I mean that full circle. She was in Work Bay. She's held a mic for me. We had a show out in not a show. I had a gig for a commercial out in on Broadway. Was the Michael Jackson joint,
Uh-huh.
and they just out of nowhere they were like, we want to do this style of interview, and it's just me. I got a camera on a gimbal. I'm like, babe, you had to hold this joint, and she just rock out. So that's always a blessing. My oldest son is super talented.
Yes,
I'm
he is.
trying my best to get him into the business. But he is right now being a hard-headed 17-year-old who is just dad's the corniest person alive, and I don't know what I'm talking about. So we're in that struggle right now.
Okay.
But he's hella talented. He's a great actor. He was in Work
Yes.
Bay as well. And he was in Money Lovers. And he'll be in Christmas Bay as well. If we can get him out of school for a couple of days, that's what we're trying to do right now. But yeah, I think in any profession, right? Or I should say any profession, but any parent, or husband or wife or whatever
Mhm.
that has a demanding profession, I think the struggle is often time. It's early on. It might be money when you're sacrificing and trying to get to the point. When I first started my company, I didn't make any money. It probably, excuse me, I left. I was at Comcast when I made the decision that I was going to become a film director. I went back to work
Mhm.
because I mentioned being a starving artist. So the first thing I did was I went back to work and I got a Comcast job, and I was making great money. I was making like six figures at Comcast, but it wasn't my passion. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I literally went there as a means to an end. I knew it was a means to an end when I filled the
Right.
application out. That was the way I was going to get back on my feet and buy some camera equipment. And that's what I did. And then I left, and I didn't see six figures probably from the time I left in 2010 or 11 to probably 2014 or 15. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It took me at least 4 years to get to the point where I was making with the camera close to what I was making
Did,
with
did you
Comcast.
feel frustrated, or were you just thinking like, this is my passion? It's gonna happen.
It
Like, were you committed? Obviously, I mean, now you've achieved success, but like, were you committed in the struggle times?
it I'd be lying if I didn't say that there weren't times when I looked at it like I'm gonna need to find a job. And I had a turning point in my career where I was brand new to it. And this is important. If you know anybody that's an entrepreneur and they're not on this call, I want to give this advice to people who are listening and people who, you know, may not be listening, that you can carry this with you, because this helped me immensely. I started a business. I named it Focus Studios because I went away. I went to Miami with a good friend of mine who she was older than me at the time. We were dealing with each other, but she was super duper successful, and all of her friends were successful,
Mm,
and they were like in their early 40s, and I was like 28.
mm,
And it was the first time I saw a different lifestyle, a lifestyle that I
mm,
wanted. And I named my business Focus Studios, not nothing to do with a camera. That's just a convenient pun.
right.
But it was a reminder for me to stay focused. So what happened was I started PAing on a production set, production
Mm,
assistant. I'm doing everything. You name it, I'm doing it on this production set.
mm-hmm.
And I'm working these crazy hours. And this is after I left my job. This is when I'm on pursuit of, being an
Right.
entrepreneur and all of that. But I take this production assistant role because it's in the field I want to be in. And I'm working crazy hours. Call sheets is crazy. If anybody worked in film, any type of thing, you know how these call sheets be crazy. You get them the day before, the next day, and sometimes you might have been on set from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then tomorrow's call time is 4 a.m. and the next day's call time is 3 p.m. and all of
Right.
this. So you don't really have a life when you're
Right.
working on a film set. So when I got done, I said, "Damn, Kyrie, you ain't never worked that hard for Focus Studios." I
Mm,
said, how you getting up 5 a.m. to be on set on time at 6 a.m., working 12 hours, sleeping for 4, getting back up at 8 a.m. to be there at 9 and all of that. I said, damn, you ain't never do that.
right.
So the first thing I did was I said I owe it to myself to work that hard on my business. And what I did was I started putting my own self in school. So everything I didn't know about cameras, lighting, sound, acting, directing, script writing, you name it, I wrote down. And I created my own curriculum, so to speak.
Okay.
And what I would do is every day I would get up 7 a.m. and I would look up these terms online. I would watch videos on them. I would put my camera in my hands and play with the settings and do the things that, any of these tutorials that I could find were doing. And the hard part that people don't understand is nowadays you type in anything and it's there, right? I'm talking 2011, 2012. There was barely anything there,
Right.
right? I had to do some deep digging, some deep research, and I had to actually read a lot of this stuff. It
I
wasn't
know,
just
it's like
it
a
wasn't just a video.
historical. Right. Right.
Yeah. I think Film Riot was probably like the only thing that was online at that time of substance that I could really learn something from. But other than that, I had to do my research. So that was a turning point for me in my business, was me actually learning the craft. And that was the thing that I said to myself. I said, what I'm going to have that no one else is going to have is, and I don't say no one else, obviously people got it, but my edge was going to be studying. My edge was going to be, I know the answers to this film stuff. Whether I've ever done it or not,
Mm,
I know the answers.
yep.
The best teacher is being out there in the field and getting it done. But a lot of stuff I've never put to practice, but I read about it, I connected it to something else, and a lot of stuff that I haven't put to practice, once I get in the field and I need to do it, is right there for me because I've studied it, I've learned how to do it.
So I I hate to do this because you have so much valuable information to share. I wish I could have got you on here
I'll
earlier.
come back. I'll come back, baby
Yeah,
bro.
that's what I was about to say. I definitely want to have you back on because unfortunately my battery is like, it's about to my battery's like, all right, wrap this shit up, B.
It's all good.
But
If I go
but
running without a fire, will you leave me on? If I go, I can't.
um nah, but I excuse me. I definitely want to have you back on. I really do appreciate you joining, even though I wanted to fight you earlier. We talk about that later. Anyway, thank
Oops.
you though. Thank you for all the insight you shared. Thank you for sharing your story. Very compelling stuff. That's why you are a great writer and storyteller, because look at the way you painted that picture. I can totally see it. And I'm sure, the folks who are still on with us saw it as
I
well. So
appreciate y'all for listening.
so yes, I'm gonna hit you up and definitely have you back. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, please put your IG handle in the chat. It's Kyrie Terrell. But I will have him spell it out for you because I'm gonna have to.
Bang. I just put it.
There you go. Go follow him. Go check out his movies. Don't forget Work Bay, the original, and Work Bay 2 and
Yeah,
Money Lovers. And he's got some other projects coming out.
sure
But just
do.
make sure you go follow him and you'll learn all about, what he's got coming down the pike. So thank you, sir.
Yes,
And
indeed. Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
yeah, so yeah. So before my battery dies, okay. Thank y'all for still hanging. I know this has been like another marathon episode, but once I got them on, I think they all had something really useful and valuable to share. So, yeah. So once again, Happy New Year. Thanks for joining me. The whole live will be available on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Becky Brown Girl. So please go like, subscribe, and share. It should be there by tomorrow. But thank you. Thank you all for joining, and have a good night. Peace, two fingers.